Yes, yes, yes. All right. Claudia Gannon, a Coptic teacher now. I think you're going through self-mastery training as well.
Yes.
And a spiritualist. A wonderful woman that has opened my eyes to the biggest thing to do is let go when you follow your spiritual path and trust it and trust what comes through you. And that's one of the messages she gave me when I kind of opened my eyes to come back to the organization and take a look at my spiritual path a little bit more about going on 10 years ago. So I thank you for that. As John and Carl and the team had classes at your church over on Leonard Street. So tonight's topic is a little bit about that. It's pretending. It's having fun and make up a reality workshop with Claudia Gannon as we welcome her tonight. So come on up. Let's enjoy it. All righty.
Got it. Good evening.
Good evening.
Pretend, have fun, and make up reality. Well, we all like to have fun, right? It makes us joyful. Gets us from up down there to up here, right? Pretending, now we were really good at that when we were children, right? I mean, that was what we did. Every day, we could just pretend anything we wanted to, make it all up. Now, this new energy we're in now, it seems to have us on this learning curve about making up reality, about manifesting. Isn't that what we're talking about? Manifesting, making up reality? We all want certain things in our lives, and so we're kind of pulled towards that, and we're getting pushed towards that. And so maybe I thought maybe you would like to have a little heads up on some of the skills we can use. But the first thing I did is I built this invisible shelf all the way around the room. It's pretty heavy duty. And whenever you have a doubt or a disbelief or just mind clutter, throw it up on that shelf. We don't really want it down here tonight. Now, if you want it, grab it and take it home with you. Go for it. But, you know, just leave it up there. You might find all kinds of interesting things happening in your life. You know, fears and doubts, we just toss them up there. Don't be afraid. It's not going to fall down. I built it really good. Our intent this evening is to link, not think. We're going to link into our higher self. Hamid Bey called, our higher self and the spiritual realm, and Hamid Bey called it abstract. And what is more abstract than pretending? Pretending and making it up. We're going to use some tools, and the first three are, well, the main three are modeling, sequence, and physiology. Modeling is something that we learn from other people. It's preferably something that they did well, that we want to do well also. So we use them as a model. A sequence is a pattern, and it helps us to not have to rethink things. When we have the same pattern over and over again, we get in that habit, and then it comes automatically to us. And so that's kind of what sequence is about. And the physiology, you might not believe this, but you can actually use your body to tune into the spirit realm. Maybe you better throw that up on the shelf there, if you don't believe it. So let's use those tools in a meditation. Take the posture of meditation, feet flat on the floor. Some nice breaths. Close your eyes. Let your tongue rest behind your teeth. Just relax and settle into your breath. Now pretend you're stepping into your bathroom. If you have more than one bathroom, just pick one of them. Just step into your bathroom. Look around. See the colors, the decorations, the lights, perhaps a shelf with trinkets on it. Notice the aromas, the soap, the water, perhaps fresh air coming in through the window. Listen. Maybe you hear a clock ticking, perhaps a leaky faucet, or noise outside the window. Now feel the cool, smooth floor, or perhaps a rug beneath your bare feet. What else do you notice? Okay, come back into the room, open your eyes. And this was a visual impression that you got. It wasn't you looking at your bathroom, it was an impression of what you remember about your bathroom. Okay, take another few breaths. Close your eyes. Now pretend you're going into someone else's bathroom. It's easy. There's no attachments there. No grandma's trinket on the shelf. So when you go into someone else's bathroom, you're just going to need to trust your guidance. Have fun and make up reality. See the colors, the decorations on the wall, the lights. Notice the aromas. Listen. Feel what's beneath your feet. You really have to trust. And there's no right or wrong. What else do you notice in this someone else's bathroom? Okay, come back into this room. Now open your eyes. This visual was also an impression, but an abstract impression beyond the five senses. It was linking, not thinking. So we explored the tools of modeling and physiology, and sequence. Those all come into play with meditation. Now we're going to learn about the skills of deliberate, conscious links into intuition. We call it VAK. When you want a picture, you go to your visual, which is up. When you want words or impressions, impressions, if you want to hear something or get an impression of a word, you move your eyes from side to side, or maybe tip your head a little bit. That's where you're going to access the words and the hearing. And when you want a feeling, where do you go? You go to your gut, right? So you look down. I always tell folks, especially when I'm doing a reading, if something is very emotional and they start to cry, and I always say to them, you may cry if you'd like to, but if you'd like to stop that for this moment, look up. Go to a visual picture. Get out of your feeling. Get out of your feeling. And it works every time. Okay, so I still feel a little doubts here, so we can throw those up on the shelf. And I'm going to give you a little demonstration of how that works. Now, when you're using your eyes to connect visually or audio or in your gut, you don't even have to have them open. You can have them closed, and it still works. Oh, let's see. May I come to you?
Huh?
I am going to say, I don't know why I'm saying this, but, oh, I see a beautiful light over your head. Bless you. Okay. My friend James over there. May I step with you?
Certainly.
Okay, we're gonna see what James has got going on here. This is a no-brainer. I'm hearing all kinds of critters. Let's see if any of them have a message for you. Other than thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank both of you for the great home that you provide for these critters. So what else are we hearing there? Yeah, we're hearing that James loves his home and he loves to go home to his wonderful spouse and his wonderful land and his critters. And I'm going to leave that with you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see here. Michael. What's Michael feeling? Whew. I don't know, maybe not right this moment, but I'm feeling all kinds of joy with you, Mike. Of course, that's what I always feel with you. You have some burdens that weigh on you, but I still feel the joy just coming through, just all the time. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now it's your turn. And everybody that can, I want you to get up. And these two lovely ladies over here, they can stay right where they are and they still can participate, okay?
Okay.
All right, but everybody else, come on, get up and get around. And Linda is going to play some inspiring music for us.
Musical chairs. Musical chairs.
You guessed it, sort of.
Musical chairs.
No, not really.
No?
But, you know, that's what I told Linda when I had to explain to her how I wanted her to do the music. So we're going to move about in the center of the room, not really doing a dance, but kind of. And we're just going to move about to the music for a while. And when the music stops, I want you to look at eye to eye with the nearest person that you have stopped by. And keep eye to eye. And one of you say to the other, I don't know why I'm saying this, but And then whatever comes off the top of your head, it's amazing what you'll hear. Then the other person in return says the same thing. I don't know why I'm saying this, but it's great fun. It's really accurate. And afterwards in the meet and greet room, you can, chat with people and see how accurate we were. We're going to do this a few times. So, Miss Linda.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. Sorry. Do it. This music one chair.
All right, find something near you. You can.
Okay, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I see a lot of entities around you. I don't know what. Master teachers.
All right.
Teachers.
I don't know why I'm saying this, but you have flowers. Flowers everywhere.
Sorry, you ready? Oh, okay.
Okay, let's go again.
Find somebody.
Find somebody new.
You didn't find somebody. Somebody new. You got it wrong. Hey, you two.
They're just having too much fun. If you don't have somebody, go to one of those ladies over here. Share with them.
I see a lot of blue. I feel like there's a little bit of yellow light around.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And
So now it's your turn.
I don't know.
Or
anything that moves.
That's what makes life. It really is.
More?
It's just Egypt imitation.
We've stopped, I gotta get away from you because I've stopped by you a lot. Who am I? All right, let's see.
Okay. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I feel a lot of loving, beautiful light around.
I don't know what you're saying.
But some heaviness.
Absolutely beautiful.
Almost like a crown, but it's
Not just around the top of it, and then it's also on this side too. So it's got beautiful points, but the points are all crystals. This is really cool. And then you've got one large one right here at the throat chakra.
All right, one more.
Really?
Come on, we lost our enthusiasm. Let's Three of us.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Well.
Oh, good.
Hi.
Oh, joy!
want
to say this, but
meet you. I know you're lovely.
I've known you for a long time. There's one word that stands out with you. G-I-V-I-S-T. Something about you. Something about you.
Not stubborn?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, just throw that word out. No. Just think all wonderful.
All right, give us another one.
That was what you went to the center.
Okay, I don't know why I'm
Given
saying this.
here and just a wonderful lady. And you got that
I feel a lot of
radiant
grace
smile.
coming out from you, sunshine and light. Just yellow. Just a lot of beauty. Oh, yeah.
I see. Maybe I got it. A man that we were doing for us.
Come on, Steve. Yeah, we can do it together. Come on, I'll be your first.
The same people like this. Okay, we can all sit down now if you want to. We can sit. Thank you, Linda. And so she did. You stuck with me?
Oh, I thought you said sit down.
I did say sit down, but he doesn't listen.
Good for you. Oh, being the boss here. Bad for
I don't know why I was saying
whatever
this.
comes to mind. I don't know.
See you spin here around. And that's a very cool thing. Bringing the energy.
Now I
Well, we had fun too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's sit down. Not that anybody wants to.
Oh, thank you.
So, did you have fun?
Did it? Yeah, that was fun.
Did you pretend?
Yes.
Pretend I was doing Zumba. All right, that's a good thing, Judy. And you got all your energy going. I'm going to tell a little story about Mike Delano's mom.
Really?
She came to a meeting at my house one evening, and we were sharing messages. And I said, Kathy, so what message are you getting? And I don't remember what she spieled off, but she sounded just like she'd been doing it for a long time. And then afterwards she came up to me and she said, I knew you were going to make me say something, so I just made it up. And the person that she gave it to was amazed. She was right on. That's great fun.
That's amazing.
So we've had some fun with this. This is from a workshop that I do, and it's a great debate because I can do either a 14-hour workshop, or I'm thinking maybe shorten it down because there's a lot of segments to it, and do it for like an 8-hour workshop. I'm going to pass around some information on it. Actually, I'll make you guys do the work. Pass it back that way.
Just passing it down that way.
I don't know, you got enough that
You're passing it the wrong way.
We got more than enough, but I didn't get one.
Here, this way, you guys.
Or they're still scattered. They're still doing obly dee, obly die. You need more over there?
Here.
I'm sorry, you're left out.
Yeah, that
I'm going to give you a little bit of background on why I created this workshop. A friend of mine, some of you may know Susan, tall Susan, and I decided that we wanted to kick up our spiritual lives a little bit. And so we were listening to Michael Joy over the years, and she kept telling us about this sit. You guys gotta go to sit weekend. And we're like, what are you talking about? Spiritual insight training.
Oh.
And she would tell us about it frequently, and we'd go, okay. She went to the school that's sponsored by Fellowships of the Spirit, and it's at the community of Lilydale. And the program, the sit was a weekend. And it was amazing because we went to it, and from Friday night to Sunday morning, there were people in there that had no idea what a medium was, what a psychic reading was. But from that time period, they would go from not being able to even understand it to giving clear, accurate messages from that weekend experience. I was really amazed. I was already giving messages at that point. But to watch the people go, oh, wow, and say, I didn't know I could do that. But just going through this process and being with these amazing people. And so when I came home, Susan and I looked at each other. It's a 7-hour drive. And, that's if we didn't miss any turn-offs going there. We'd get yakking and go, oh no, where are we? But, so we decided to sign up for their school. And their school is a 2-year commitment. You go basically once a month from September till April. And it would be a weekend experience or maybe a 5-day experience. They brought in amazing people. They did, one did crystals. A lot of people doing psychic experiences. Just you name it, they brought them in. And so we were exposed to all of this. There's a gentleman that's still involved in the school. His name is Robert Peng. He's Chinese, and he told us about his story of being a little child, school age, and he got really ill. And his parents both worked, so he could not, they couldn't stay home with him, so he was home by himself during this recovery time. And he finally got bored enough that he started wandering towards the little town. And he came across this big building. I wouldn't even know how to explain it. But this gentleman there was in charge of the furnaces that were in this building. And he would peer in the window and be, and little boys, they love anything that goes around or whatever. And after several days, or maybe a week, this gentleman started talking to him. And at that point in time in their history in China, they were not allowed to practice any of their skills. And so the gentleman just quietly started teaching this little one the karate, the discipline, and all of that. And by the time this child Robert was 15, he was ready to go for like 20 days or more. No, it was more than that, maybe like 3 months into this dark room, and every day he was there meditating and praying. And when the last few weeks came up, his master said to him, this gentleman, I have to come now every day, because if I don't, you will just leave. That's how high you have brought yourself. And so he spent all that time. And when he came out, his master is like, okay, now you have to decide, are you going to take your talents to be a warrior or a healer? He chose to be a healer. He has a practice in New York. He teaches at school still. And he teaches Qigong. He teaches how to use finger scissors and do surgery. And amazing, amazing things. Now, when Susan and I were in school, the founder of the school, Elaine, found that she had cancer. And so she went through a process, and one of the things she did was she went to Robert Peng, and she said she was laying on this table. She had her eyes closed, but she kept hearing this, sit-it, sit-it, sit-it. And she said, I couldn't, I had to open my eyes to see what the heck was going on. She saw electricity coming out of his fingers, going into her body. It was amazing. So we had some pretty amazing experiences at that school. My class had, I think about 24 students. And so we had mentors and then instructors and the founders of the school in and out all the time. So we usually had about 30 people in a room at a time. The meditations were incredible. There's a healer, his name is Tom Kratzley, and he taught us, I don't know how many processes of healing, just amazing. And he does regressions, and he really helped my friend Susan, and I'm going to tell you a story about her. I have permission from her. She, when she started school, we meditated every morning that we were at school. And she was getting this terrible, terrible pain in her back. And so somehow she got hooked up with Tom, and he did a regression on her. And he walked her through and back and through and back and through. And she saw herself in a meditative position, with her legs crossed and that. And she knew the people that were around. She could tell you, she's incredibly detail-oriented. She could tell you exactly who they were, but this was way in a past life. And so he took her back just a little further before that all came up, and he took that all away. She has never had another pain from that since. Pretty amazing people. So I encourage you, for the fun of it, to go on the website. It's Fellowships of the Spirit, and see what they have going on. And then the bigger community is the Assembly at Lilydale. They actually have a film called No One Dies in Lilydale. I think that's what it is, isn't it? And so I feel privileged that I had the opportunity to do that. We were required each year, the 2 years that I was there, to complete and log and have people sign that we gave them we gave out 70 healings and 70 readings. So I got a lot of practice. And at the same time, my husband and I were, and Bill Lumsden were at the Spiritualist Church. And so I have lots of practice. It's great fun. Thank you for allowing me to practice on you and to share. There's a sign-up sheet on the table in the meet and greet room if you would like to have more information or if you would like to take the workshop. And thank you, thank you, thank you.